Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Rianne. I am the programs manager at CAPE, and it's my absolute honor to be introducing the Bossy Bear panel with CAPE. So I'll go ahead and introduce CAPE first. CAPE is a 501c3 nonprofit. We are once again participating in just an amazing panel and getting to know such amazing new talent. I have loved watching Bossy Bear, and I am so excited to be bringing on this talent today, as well as the people behind the scenes. So I'll go ahead and introduce our Phil, or the person behind all of the creation of this, David Horvath.
Hi there. Thanks so much for having me. Yes, the original creator, but not the creator anymore. This has been such an incredible and beautiful collaborative effort, bringing Bossy Bear from the 2007 book to the show everyone is going to see very soon. It's absolutely beautiful. The cast is just brilliant and brings it to life. It's just beyond anything that we've ever dreamed of. Back in 2007, it was a book, and then it was our best-selling plastic toy line while we were making many other independent toys. And even back then, when we thought that someday that this should be a show, just the experience working with Imagine and the people at Nickelodeon, the incredible cast and all the writers, the musicians and editors, directors, just absolutely brilliant. It's a mind-boggling experience, really, how wonderful it's been. I can't wait for everybody to see.
Thank you so much, David. That is amazing. I will go ahead and bring forward our moderator for this evening. This is your Korean dad, my Korean dad, Nick Cho.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Rian.
Hello.
Hi, welcome, everyone. Thanks, Rian. Welcome, everyone, to our Bossy Bear panel. My name is Nick Cho, also known on the internet as your Korean dad. I'm so honored and delighted to be moderating this panel today, featuring some of the cast and producers of Bossy Bear. Bossy Bear premieres next Monday, March 6th at 11 a.m. ET on Nickelodeon. And you can also catch new episodes every single day, Monday through Thursday, for the entire month of March. The entire month. Wow. In the Koreatown-inspired city of Pleasantburg lives Bossy Bear and Turtle, a pair of besties who are the quintessential odd couple, where Bossy is loud, enthusiastic, and a little too committed to his wild ideas, and his best friend Turtle, who complements his personality by being low-key and unassuming and always the voice of reason. Despite their differences, the duo are inseparable, emotionally in sync, and always ready to navigate through hilarious and outlandish adventures together. I'm really looking forward to this chat today with some of the cast and the producers of Bossy Bear. And I wanted to start out by letting everyone know we're going to be taking questions throughout the hour. We're not just going to have them at the end. So at any point during the conversation, if you have something that you were wondering, wanted to chime in, we really want all of you to participate in this great conversation today. You know, after all, these great creators, the producers, the voice actors, the animators, everyone, they're making it for you and for our families. And so we want to honor that by asking for your participation today. I want to introduce the folks who are responsible for Bossy Bear here. Let's start with Elly Kramer Posner. Elly Kramer Posner, Senior Vice President of Animation at Imagine Kids and Family, and is the executive producer of Bossy Bear. Good to see you, Elly.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
For sure. Eruk Casemiro is the executive vice president of Nickelodeon Animation and Global Series Content. Hi, good to see you, Eruk.
Hi, Nick. Hi, Elly. Thanks for having me. Really excited.
And we're going to bring on Chil Kong. Chil is a consulting producer for Bossy Bear. He's responsible for a lot of the things that we're going to talk about over the next hour. You got your finger heart ready?
Double barrel. I'm shooting love double barrel.
Yeah, good to see you. Let's have a quick chat before we bring on our voice actors, our cast that everyone wants to see. Eruk, can we start with you? You know, it's so fantastic to see a show like this that, you know, really shows authentic representation, you know, but let's go back a little bit. I don't know how long you've been with Nickelodeon. I know Nickelodeon's been around since 1979, since I was a little kid, before I was any kind of Korean dad. It's been 44 years. How has children's programming changed, and how do you keep the network relevant?
Well, some things never change. Funny and heart and good characters are a hallmark of the very early shows from Nickelodeon that everyone loved, and to today, and which was why we love this property. And instantly, when Elly brought it in with Imagine, we knew instantly like this was so special. And, you know, in this moment where representation is so important, and, you know, we want to meet our audience where they are and let the audience see who they are on screen, this was such a perfect opportunity. And it harkens, like what I love so much about this show was that relationship at the core. And we know in my early life, I did Rugrats the first time around with Nickelodeon, which was the secret sauce there was just friendship and the kids who care about each other, and then the audience wants to be friends with them. And so thanks to Elly and the team of writers, they really created and built out from David's original vision a world and you know, relationships that are so perfect. So I don't think much has changed, except that kids are watching on every other device than not so much on the thing on the wall, but it's okay. We know they'll find this one.
That's good stuff. You know, kids are always going to be kids. Elly, can you tell us about the development of Bossy Bear? How did the show come about?
Oh, sure. Well, I just want to start off. I know David started off by thanking everyone, but I really want to also thank David and Sunmin for entrusting Imagine with, you know, everything you create is your baby, and they trusted us with their baby, and we wouldn't be here without them. So I just want to acknowledge them and thank them and their family. But I started at Imagine, and one of the other executive producers, Stephanie Sperber, day one, she handed me this book and she said, "This has to be a show." And I'm like, "You're totally right." It was just beautiful, really, you know, visually, I think we can all agree it's like something you've never seen. And we just really fell in love with these characters and felt like they weren't, you don't see characters like Bossy very often on television for a lot of reasons. And we were really excited to not only represent this Korean American family, which is very much like David and his family, and we felt like you also don't see very much on TV, but also to show, you know, like Eruk was saying, friendship is paramount. It's everything to preschoolers, and just to show these besties who couldn't be more different, these ride or dies who just want to go on these crazy adventures together, and to really redefine what it means to be bossy, because bossy could sort of sometimes get a negative rap. And I think also to showcase the beauty in being an introvert, like our little turtle is, and both are equally awesome. And so we spent some time fleshing out these characters in Pleasantburg and working with the writers and Chil to really just bring it to life in a way that felt authentic. And I think truly, from the music to the casting to the visuals to the writing and the storytelling, like nothing else on TV. And we're just so excited to share it with everyone.
That's really great. Chil, can you talk about your involvement? Because I think that especially for this audience, your job on Bossy Bear is especially interesting.
Well, Elly and Max was on the Nickelodeon team just to talk to me. I was working on different projects, and they said, "Hey, we'd love to talk to you about this Bossy Bear." And what was remarkable about the process has been is this amazing, supportive community that exists within Nickelodeon that has allowed things like independent thought and ideas that's really just be a caretaker of some of these really interesting ways to tell the story. And so so I was brought in just to kind of flip ideas around. And so we brainstormed, and I remember sending them like a whole ton of photo images, and we started pitching ideas to each other of how this whole thing could be put together. And you know, like I gave them photos of basically this like Koreatown and signs that you see behind me, and how some of that looks. And what was wonderful is that I didn't have to. The whole intent for everyone within the creative team was very specifically about existing in this very Korean and very American world that I know very well, and you do too, right? So without having to explain. which is why I love this show so much.
Mhm.
Because most of the time, when an Asian or a Korean or a Chinese, when they're on a show or even in a show, you have to explain their existence in some form. You have to do some kind of like stop and say, hey, so this is what this means. And what I love is that this, from the very beginning, the care that the Nickelodeon team and at Imagination have been all about making sure that we just let this world exist. Because the kids are so fun. These characters are so fun. So why mess with that and just let it live in this world? And so that's how this kind of came about. And it was really exciting part of it.
That's really great. Chil, before we bring the voice actor kids on, so what you just talked about not having to explain certain things, you know, some people who are watching this right now, they understand exactly what we're talking about. For others, they might be wondering, what do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean? What's wrong with some explanation? I get it, but can you explain to us?
Well, most of people of color, the mainstream America has always been about a very white-centric, Eurocentric storytelling. And when something new comes in, which is, you know, whether consider immigrant or whatever it is, you have to explain why that person, that thing, or that story exists in this world. So an example is if you have, like, you know, before when you have a very white neighborhood and a black person came in, you have to say something like, oh, they're here because they're friends of such and such. So they had to do some explanation in existence to that world.
Kind of explain your existence, explain your presence.
Yeah, and you know, that's fatiguing for all of us because we're here. Why do I have to tell you why I'm here?
And it kind of makes you feel a little bit more kind of othered, right? It doesn't really make you feel like you're the target. It makes you feel like you're sort of an object that's being brought in for other people's interest or enjoyment. And I think that you would agree there's been so much media in the past few years that's really been building on this idea that, you know what, audiences are smart enough, even preschool age kids are smart enough to get it. It's like you present them with a world, you know, whether it's in outer space or here on Earth or in Pleasantburg, you know, people tend to get it.
Yeah. I mean, the kids definitely do, which is why I love the way, you know, I just remember early on these great conversations with Elly and with Max, which was very much like, yeah, that's what we're doing. And I just remember thinking, really? You're sure, right? You know, because I've had these conversations before and they start that. And then as you go through the process, it always goes, well, we probably should explain this. But what I appreciate is both Elly and Max, there are a couple of times when they've actually come to me and said, hey, we just saw this thing. Can you take a look at this just to be sure? Because I think it feels a little, and I see it and go, it didn't hit me immediately, but I look at it again and go, yeah, Max is right. This is, we have to adjust it just a little bit. And when those moments happen, like I get all teary-eyed because it's not just me. It's not just me in the room. It's everyone who sees it and knows. And I cannot express the joy that I have being in a room with people like Eruk and Elly and Max, who just knows that what it feels like to be othered, and who knows that it's important to just tell this story in this world without having to do any other stuff with it.
It's so important. It's so fantastic. And Elly, Eruk, and everyone involved, like, thank you so much for your work. Speaking of, let's bring on our 3 incredible voice actors. Let's start with Jayden Ham. Here he comes. Hi, Jayden.
Jayden!
Jayden is the voice of Bossy Bear. He's a little bit frozen, maybe. We'll wait for his
Hello.
There he is. Hi, Jayden.
Hello. How are you doing today?
Hi, good to see you. Let's bring in Jaba. Jaba Keh is the voice of Turtle. Hi, Jaba.
Hello.
And Viva Lee is the voice of Bissy, who's Bossy's sister. Hi, Viva.
Hi.
Hi, so good to see everyone. Let's start with Jayden. Jayden, tell us about Bossy Bear. Who is Bossy Bear? Oh, he's having a little bit internet problems. This kind of thing can happen when we're online. Jaba, let's start with you then. Can you tell us about Turtle? Like, how do you think about Turtle and how do you approach this character? But first of all, who is he?
Well, Turtle is Bossy Bear's bestie, and Turtle is patient, pure-hearted, kind, the voice of reason, and I think I love him so much. Turtle is such an amazing character.
Very cool. And I always really appreciate how a character like Turtle, just having dots for eyes can be so emotive and have so many feelings that come through the animation. It's really great. And of course, through your incredible voice acting. Viva, who's Bissy? Introduce us to Bissy.
Hi, I'm Viva Lee. I play Bossy Bear. She is Bossy's older sister. She thinks she knows everything about being an adult, and she wants to be a K-pop singer. To be honest, she can be a little delusional when it comes to that, but she's very confident. Very confident.
Maybe a little bit like yourself.
I'm not delusional. I'm a great singer.
Jayden, how's your internet? Can we hear you right now? Jayden, are you there? Maybe having a little bit of
I can hear you. It's a little laggy.
It's a little laggy. Okay, no problem. Let's go ahead and ask you anyway. Can you tell us about Bossy Bear? Introduce everyone to Bossy Bear.
I'll be right back.
Okay. We're going to work on a little bit of technical difficulty. That all said, Jaba and Viva, I had a question for both of you. So, this world of Pleasantburg is modeled after Koreatowns. Like, are there Koreatowns anywhere in the world or in the country that you're particularly familiar or most familiar with? Let's start with Viva.
I love Koreatown. I go all the time. It's so awesome. I cannot live without Korean food, and I'm not joking. I cannot live without it. I need it. And
What's your favorite Korean food? What's your favorite thing?
I love sundubujigae. I'm a flexitarian, so I eat at least one whole plant-based meal a day. So sundubujigae is always so great, and it feels so hot. I'm like, and it's always great on a hot summer day, if you know what I mean. People always think that that's like the opposite. No, you want to go for hot, spicy food.
Yes. Yeah. If people who aren't familiar, sundubujigae is like a soft tofu, little casserole thing. It usually comes out bubbling hot, as Viva's talking about. And yeah, you can get it spicy, not too spicy. Good stuff. Jaba, how about you? Where is the Koreatown that you're most familiar with?
So when I was younger, I used to live in New York City, and there is a Koreatown around there. I only went there when I was younger, though, so I don't remember it too well. But last summer, I took a trip to LA, and I visited the Koreatown there, and I had Korean barbecue and bingsu, and it was amazing. It was so good.
That's really great. Chil, so from your perspective then, like when you were working on the show and as people were talking about kind of imagining this Pleasantburg world as sort of a Koreatown kind of place, what did that really mean? How does that come together?
Well, at first it was hard because we were all talking about what is the international aspects of this town, because I think Elly and the team really wanted to, and I think Elly, I think you should speak more to that, is that as it started, your intentions are you wanted this international town, but it had to live and exist in this Korean world. So I think Elly might be best to talk about that.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think we very much saw Pleasantburg as a melting pot, if you were. And, we've created, I think you'll see that, Bossy and Turtle's friends come from all, walks of life. But we definitely wanted it to be modeled and inspired by Koreatown. And Chil, I remember you would just send us, like you said, like just so much visual reference and food references. And I have to admit, I am not a foodie. I know very little outside of like sandwiches. And I've learned so much from Chil. I mean, now I'll, send him pictures and be like, I know what this is. Thank you, Chil. But it was, but it very much was, we really talked about it feeling like this melting pot, but definitely largely inspired by K-Town and all the places and food and smells that you would encounter there.
And part of that reason was because, like the night markets that they do in even LA's Koreatown, or and Viva, have you gone to a night market in K-Town?
Not yet. I've been waiting. I keep missing it. I'm so angry. every time.
So that is probably the most representative of what Pleasantburg is like. Is that actually Koreatown is uniquely international because Korea and Korean food and Korean culture is international now. That what you find is that you don't just have like a large majority of Koreans who just come to Koreatown. You actually have the entire multicultural space that is Los Angeles, like in the big Los Angeles K-town. That's 3 square miles of Koreanness, and it coexists in multiple languages. And it's really interesting because like you'll go to a Korean restaurant now in LA or even some of these ones in where I'm at DC, you'll hear multiple languages. I heard Russian at one point. I heard Russian, Mandarin, Spanish, Korean, English, and German in one restaurant. I was like, this is what Pleasantburg is. So it was so much fun. In fact, I specifically went out to LA and some of these other towns just take pictures because I got so excited, especially when Elly and the team was like, hey, this might work, Chil. What do you think? And I was like, yes, this is how it could work.
Yeah, good stuff. I want to remind everyone that Bossy Bear premieres next Monday, March 6th at 11 a.m. Eastern on Nickelodeon. And you can also catch new episodes every single Monday through Thursday for the entire month of March. Elly, I had a question. So we saw David Horvath before. For fans of the books, how do you go from the stories in the books to developing a series?
It's a really good question. I think Eruk may have a different answer. I think sometimes people develop a little differently, but I think I always sort of really try to get the heart initially of who the characters are. So really dig deep and try to, dimensionalize them and think about their relationship. And again, with friendship being at the core, I think humor is really important to these stories. I think these stories, you'll see there's a humor to them that I don't think you find in this space very often. Like they're truly LOL. And I think we also want to tell stories that felt, you always want to start from a place where your audience will identify with, right? Like what are things that our audience are going through and using that as a basis for the stories. And then like Chil said, working to create the world and, the places, the people that they'll find, and then start to think about stories from there. Eruk, I know you've been in this business for a long time too. You may have a point of view on development, but that was really, I would say, largely our experience with Bossy.
And no, I think you hit it on the head. It's really what we loved. And, good comedy is always like the opposites and those contrasts. And with Bossy and Turtle, we saw an instant opportunity for the funny. And what's really important to us is all of our stories teach you something about social emotional learning for preschool. So there's a little nugget of nutrition. We call it like the broccoli in with the hidden in the food, because we really want these to be meaningful stories that, maybe a year from now, a kid remembers that one story when they're in their own life and are faced with a similar situation. So it was very easy on this one because this was such a great team assembled.
Good stuff. Jayden, you're back. Maybe your internet's a little bit smoother right now. Hi.
Wait, I got
A little bit still having a hard time. Are you there?
I'm full lag. Couldn't even understand what you, but I think I'm in the clear now.
Okay. We're gonna hope. We're gonna hope so. Viva looks like she's not so sure. Jayden, can you introduce?
That's not good.
Let's try this. Jayden, can you introduce Bossy Bear? Who's Bossy Bear?
Jayden, if you can hear us, turn off your background. That should actually speed up your internet.
You think so?
Yeah, it actually pops up when you clicks on the background. It actually says it may slow down.
Extrovert.
Oh, Jayden.
Am I like?
I know he's trying.
1 second.
All right, they're gonna keep working on it, and we'll keep chatting. We want to remind everyone that during this chat, we're asking people if you have any questions from the audience for any of the producers or any of our voice actors here. Feel free to chime in on the chat, and then we'll integrate them into our conversation here. Jayden, is that better? It looks a little smoother.
Thank you. Can you hear me now? Is it?
Yeah,
clear?
yeah. Go for it. So tell us about Bossy Bear.
Bossy, character. He's committed to his ideas. He full of creativity. He's very enthusiased. Sometimes his decisions get him into silly situations, but still, I think he is Bossy Bear. That's the best way to put it.
This whole the Wi-Fi stuff too is so Bossy moment, but I just cannot help it.
It's so true, isn't it?
It was.
I could see him trying so hard to get on, and he's like, It's like, oh, yes, Bossy.
That's right. I want to ask all three of you, voice actors, Jayden, it's one of the things, like it or not, that comes with the territory when you're playing a certain character, especially a character that folks fall in love with and are very beloved. People want to know, like, how is the character like you or not like you? Starting Jayden, while we have some clarity with you, tell us, how is Bossy Bear like you or not like you?
Bossy and I are very similar in the ways that we're both really creative. We're both really excited, really extroverted. I think like the biggest difference between me and Bossy is that he's afraid of mashed potatoes. Well, I absolutely love them.
He's afraid of mashed potatoes. He's afraid? I guess this is in an unreleased episode that we're going to learn more about at some point, huh? Jaba, how about you? How are you like Turtle and how are you not like Turtle?
I would say that Turtle and I are very similar. Turtle is kind of introverted, which is very similar to me. Turtle is also very kind-hearted, loyal. He tries to diffuse arguments and bad situations, which I can definitely resonate with. And another thing is Turtle actually has something called a turtle time tent, and somehow it's bigger on the inside. Right when I saw that for the first time, I thought, I need it. I need that tent.
A turtle tent?
Yeah. In the show, you guys will see it eventually, but Turtle has a tent.
Turtle has a tent. So we have fear of mashed potatoes and a tent to look forward to. Viva, how are you like Bissy and not like Bissy?
I am like Bissy and not like Bissy. Unlike Bissy, I'm the younger sibling to a 20-year-old brother. Okay. And even though he is older, in spirit, I feel like his Nuna. I feel like the older sibling, if you know what I mean. And I mean, I'm not that similar to Cindy. I mean, I do sleep and eat all the time, but she's just the cutest little thing. I love Cindy so much for no reason. Cindy!
For Eruk and Elly, can you talk about the casting process for the voice actors for this? For Bossy Bear? For all three?
Sure. It was really hard. And, as you can tell, we went to far reaches of America to find these amazing voices for the show. Because what was really important, we have proper representation behind the cartoon voice as well. And that was, we have an incredible casting department. And then I would get the finals, but Elly and team and Max would wade through so many hundreds of auditions probably by the end, which is Elly. And really, we landed on these really, truly remarkable and many more. This cast is just delicious.
They are. I actually just wanted to share one anecdote, which is that, often we'll be recording and Ed Lewis, our amazing director, will talk about different ways that, you could read a line. And often we'll just look at the kids and we'll be like, okay, Jaba, like, what would Turtle do in this situation? How would he respond? And then Jaba just gives us a line read. We're like, of course, that's how he would respond. Or, it's like no one knows. They truly embody the kids that they play, and no one knows these characters better. And they just make everything sing off the page in ways that we just so far exceeded our expectations. We are the luckiest with this cast.
Mm-hmm.
Are there ways that things change in the sort of development of characters as the voice actor starts to add their own personality to them?
That's a good question. I think so. And I think sometimes, again, Eruk and Chil and Jaba, Jayden, Viva, everyone, I think sometimes it's they bring stuff that isn't written on the page that you can't necessarily write, but there's a flavor to it where they just elevate the line or the song or the delivery. And you're like, we couldn't have seen that. We couldn't have necessarily written or forecasted, but because of who they are and the talent that they are, we're like, oh my gosh, of course. It's just, it's a joy to watch. It's a joy to watch and be a part of.
And again, for Elly and Eruk, you know, anyone who's watching this right now can instantly see that we have 3 Asian American voice actors that are voicing these characters. How does that play into the development of this particular show and how you think about, you know, casting a show like this that is focused on characters that have certain ethnicities and cultural backgrounds?
Well, we really always aim to put a voice in place that represents that authenticity. I mean, we've done it on all of our shows. We've had, you know, First Nation peoples to, golly, we've run the gamut. And it's really important because I think there's an authenticity, and especially in this show, and we had the great fortune of Chil to keep us honest with some of the vernacular, some of the foods. And it's so important to have a voice actor who recognizes and lands that word correctly, because it feels more natural, and you want it to feel natural to that Korean kid that's watching, whose own grandparents and parents may cite those same foods or things. And so it's that you can always hear a fake, like it's a fake British accent. We all can hear it. You're like, sorry, Madonna, but this is but you know, it's really important, and I think it's part of that nuance. You kind of almost can't measure it, but it allows for just a real truthfulness to that performance.
Yeah, Elly, when we were talking the other day, you'd mentioned that, you know, some networks will cast adults to do kids' voices, but that, you know, Nickelodeon doesn't do that, and that it's certainly not on this production. You know, you feel like it's not just about, again, cultural background and things like that, but it's also important that it's a kid's voice?
I think so personally. I mean, I think I can only speak to this show in particular, but I think for this one, we felt strongly about kids playing kids. You know, I think there's that youthfulness that you just can't replicate. And sometimes I think when adults try to sound like kids, it can work with with different degrees of success. But for this particular series, I think we really felt strongly about it being kids.
Good stuff. A few minutes ago, someone named Hannah Travis asked a good question. How old are the characters supposed to be? Can someone answer?
Elly?
I was looking at the kids. I didn't know if they wanted to represent.
You're going to have to out their ages now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Jayden?
I'm pretty sure Bossy's 6. Like, I'm not, it's not confirmed or anything, but I'm pretty sure he's 6.
I guess that makes Jaba Turtle, sorry. Turtle probably 6 as well, and maybe Bissy's a little bit older.
That range.
And Bissy's a little older. Bissy's the older sister in every way.
At first, in the audition, it said like 11 to 12, but then when I started filming, I think they said like 8 or something, so I don't even know anymore.
And then someone named Sushi Val asked a good question. For our voice actor cast, how does it feel being in a majority Asian cast?
I feel very proud and humbled because this is my first like Korean show. I've been like generic Asian things, but I feel like very proud for this to be my first like Korean American show, and I'm proud to represent my Korean culture side.
I would definitely say that I am so thankful for this experience from Nickelodeon, and I'm very proud to be representing my Korean American heritage. And playing a Korean American character has been so much fun, and just a great way to be representing my Korean American heritage.
And once again, like everyone has said, I am so excited to represent. Recently, my mom is in a group for Korean Americans, and this woman, she was adopted, but she's Korean, and she had a son, and she said that she thinks her son is almost rejecting his culture, and she didn't know what to do. And someone commented that there's resources and shows that he can watch, and they posted Bossy Bear. and it was insane. And I didn't even think that would happen. The show isn't even out yet, and it feels so crazy that the younger generation is gonna grow up to see people who are like them. It's just so cool.
Yeah, you all are a part of history, whether you think about it that way or not. It's not just for you, but for kind of for everyone. It was a great question from Aaron Quill. I guess on behalf of someone named Liam. Liam wants to know, what is your favorite moment of your character? Let's start with Jaba. Was there like maybe this is one of the episodes that folks have seen through the screeners? Maybe it's one that they haven't. In that case, it'll be a little bit of a sneak peek. But like, yeah, is there a moment from this season that you think of as particularly memorable for
For
Turtle?
sure, yeah. So actually, Jayden, Viva, and I were talking about the scene a while back, and I think it's really memorable. It's when Turtle and Bossy are making like kimchi, and there's a whole song about it, and it's just so much fun and such a fun way to show like how you can make kimchi.
I was gonna say that too. I was literally gonna say that. That's my favorite song in the whole show.
Great minds think
My
alike.
favorite scene.
Is it the cucumber kimchi one, or is there a
Yeah,
different
it's a
kimchi scene?
Yeah, it's the cucumber. Like I was in love with that song as soon as I heard it. Because I practiced the song and I loved it. It was so amazing. And I can't. It's my favorite scene as well. I'm just saying.
Viva, what about you?
That's a toughie. Of course, I love that scene, but I really like any scene that I get to sing in. I love working with Mr. Craig and Sir Ed. I love any of the singing scenes. I also like a few episodes, particularly Ultimate Hype Bear, which you will see, and You Ain't Seen Nothing Yeti, which is not released.
Oh yeah, Ultimate Hype Bear I've seen, because it is, and for the folks who haven't seen them yet, the screeners will be, I think, still available to watch. So make sure you check those out. But the other one, yeah, Viva, is one that we'll have to look forward to seeing at some point. That's really great that you guys talked about cucumber kimchi, because I think cucumber kimchi is also my favorite of all the kimchis. Also, actually, so it's all good. Chil, let me ask you a question. So I know that a lot of your work on Bossy Bear was focused around the representation element. So what kind of representation does Bossy Bear hope to bring for children today?
Well, first of all, I just know this is a fantastic show. So what I love is that this show is out there where anyone can enjoy. But what I feel like what it's going to do, and what I hope it's going to do, is just make it normal. It sounds really simple, but just to know that, oh yeah, my friend has kimchi in his lunchbox, or instead of saying dumplings, they say mandu, which is not quite the same thing, and to be able to even know the difference. Because I grew up where a lot of people didn't know the difference. They asked me all kinds of different AAPI countries and names, and assumed that I knew everyone who lived there. So it's just that, like, my son gets to know that there is a world out there that everything he does, even a little bit of Korean that he does and say, and when I try to say to him, he doesn't think, oh, that's not, because he watches a lot of anime. And so for the longest time, he was speaking a lot of Japanese. And I was like, oh my God, please, can we just get you to say a few Korean words, Liam? And what I love is that this show itself is going to get him to start actually speaking more, and knowing that it's possible, that it's okay. So that, if nothing else, just make it normal is all I wish for. And I'm so proud just to be part of it because of that.
That's really great. Chil, one more question for you. We talk about Korean American, Koreatown, like, the world that this show is in and how it relates to the world that we live in. And it's an interesting question that sometimes is a tough one to answer, but I'm interested in asking you, what does Korean American culture even mean, for you? How do you think about it? Because it's not always as simple as everyone else might think, right?
Yeah, it's hard because because I'm American. I am very much uniquely American. I am very different when I'm in Korea. no matter how long, because I was born in Korea, I grew up a little bit in Korea and then moved here when I was a little bit in my when I was young. But my identity isn't rooted in my back home Korean country. It's not. And I think the key difference for me as a Korean American, why this show is so precious to me, is that there are things within this world that I don't have to explain. There are like, only Korean Americans know, like, we spell, instead of saying a Korean word for computer, we actually spell out computer in Korean lettering to say that that's a computer store. Like, there's little idioms that we know that we can laugh about. That's all embedded in the show. And the other part to that is that our existence is part of a wide spectrum, right? Because people think Koreans or Korean Americans are the same. You could take Jayden and throw him into Korea and he'd be fine, which is not true. Jayden knows. And not because of language.
Because his internet would be better in Korea.
It would be, by the way. Yes, it would be. But it's like, even the time and how orientation of space is so different. And that is why it's like, I'm proud to be a Korean American. And that's why I really love these characters, is that these different, like, even if within the three of these amazing actors here, Vivian has a lot more, enrichment and experience in Koreanness. Jayden has a little bit less, and then Jaba's kind of like right in the middle. That spectrum alone in this group, even the way, like, you'll hear it, there'll be different ways that Jayden will pronounce Korean words that Jaba does and Viva does. It actually reflects the giant spectrum that is Korean and Korean American. It is a beautiful coloration and depth, right? Because we get so squashed into a simple idea of what is Korean, and now we get to play a full life. Like, these kids, these friendships is a full life of what it means to be Korean and American. And my son fits somewhere in there. His friends fit somewhere in there, and they don't have to be the same. And I can't express how joyous that makes me feel, and how, like, that I love that Nickelodeon, Eruk and Elly and Max and all the team, everybody else that I just can't mention all the names, how they are incredibly supportive of reflecting that entire spectrum with joy. This is what I love about this team.
No, it's fantastic, Jill. Thanks for sharing that. I mean, I always share from time to time that, my internet persona, I always do a little greeting. Hey, I'm your Korean dad at the beginning. And part of the reason I do that is that then they can't ask me what kind of Asian I am, because I've already told them at the beginning. And then everything that happens after that, whether it's cooking Korean food or making hamburgers or going skiing, is generally speaking like a very American kind of experience. And I really loved what you said about, just creating that space for everyone, whether you identify as Korean American or not. It's just creating these different spaces that just, envelop everyone. We talked a lot about culture. I'm interested a little bit about age. Elly, if I can ask you about, like, what is the target age for Bossy Bear, and how do you how does that fit into the production and development of a show? And because I'm an adult, I really enjoyed it too. Is it okay for me to enjoy it too?
Oh my God, that makes my heart burst. Of course. I mean, excuse me. I think whenever you develop something, really the first question we ask ourselves is, who is this for, right? And we want the stories to resonate with whoever we're developing it for, and for kids to see themselves in these characters. And so, there's a reason that the kids are the ages they are, for example, because we know that their experience or shared experiences with the Nickelodeon audience. So it's really, we say roughly, for preschoolers, roughly ages 4 to 7. But I do think and appreciate what you said, which is that I think when we thought about these stories, we really wanted them to resonate with young kids. And because one of the things we heard back in early testing and research we did was that kids, for example, one of the early pilots we did was, it took place at like a Target-like store, and with Bossy's mom and the kids. And one of the things we heard was, like, kids were like, oh, I know Target. I go there all the time, right? Like, they're like, this is my life. And so I think parents see part of that too, which is what it's like to raise kids, all the shenanigans that go on. And the stories really start from a place of, what are kids experiencing, right? There's an episode where Bossy, for example, is upset because Bissy gets to do things he can't do because she's older. There's a story where Turtle's nervous about bringing something in for show and tell his grand's manju because he's scared he's going to be made fun of, that it's different and maybe it'll smell different. So we really, I mean, those are 2 examples out of 90 stories, but really just to hopefully show a breadth of really starting from what kids this age are experiencing and going from there.
That's really great. Thanks for that. We have a question from the audience from DN. Says, for the voice actors, if you could have any AAPI actor join Bossy Bear, this is just like anyone in the world, who would it be and what role would you like them to voice? That's a kind of fun question.
I think I would love for Jackie Chan to be in Bossy Bear. He would be like a grandpa, or like, I don't know, like that would be so cool because Jackie Chan's really like, he's been in so many movies. He's pushed the boundaries for Asian American actors, and also like Randall Park and Simu Liu. They're both in like Marvel movies and stuff. I would love them to be in like any role. It doesn't really matter. I would love for them to be in Bossy Bear.
Jaba, Viva, any thoughts?
I would say like Steven Yeun or like John Cho, especially like all the other people that Jayden Ham said. I think that honestly, anyone on the show would be just so amazing and so cool. I don't think it matters what role they play. I think it's just so cool to have all these different Asian American actors on the show.
I have a list. Definitely Mr. Simu, of course. Jackie Chan's a great one, obviously. Miss Sandra Oh. Mr. Randall Park. I love Mr. Randall Park. It would be so awesome if he was there. And I want to rap a song with him. I love writing my own raps. And he can spit bars. And I love him so much. I want that.
I like looking at Elly and Eruk's faces, and they're like, I don't know if we can afford all these people that are listening right now.
Well, I was sort of feeling bad for you, Nick. No one mentioned you, and you should be on our show.
Oh my goodness. Anytime.
Yeah. I have to admit, my mind went to actually Jayden directing Jackie Chan in the booth. Like I could, as Bossy, that's where I went.
That's incredible. That makes me wonder, Jayden, do you actually have a little crown that you can wear sometimes, or has no one given you one yet?
Oh, I think like I should buy that. I'll just wear it. Like any interview, I'm just gonna wear a crown now. Like instead of that would be. I should just do that.
That's great.
Very good. Hannah Travis, another question a little while ago asked, will we be seeing K-pop guest stars? I know that we had the one episode, the Ultimate Hype Bear episode that had it was Super Flock, right? That was the name of the K-pop group.
Mm-hmm.
Can anyone talk about the way that K-pop maybe is integrated into the Bossy Bear show?
Sure. Eruk, do you want me to take this one?
Please do.
Sure.
Please.
I mean, that theme song, I have not gotten out of my head since the first time I heard it personally. I don't know about anyone else, but I would say that K-pop has been, just our sonic inspiration from day one. And I think we're really excited to introduce the world to our very own K-pop group, Superflock, who sound, again, like nothing else I think you hear right now on TV. And we were very, very much inspired. I mean, we would send each other references all the time just to make sure even sonically we're like, this is K-pop, we're getting it, right? And it's a huge, huge part of our show.
Fantastic. I mean, we have K-pop, we have Korean food. Is there any place for Korean dramas? Do they show up at all?
Grand may be a fan. That's all I'm saying for now.
She likes her stories. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So one of the things that I sent the team was this Korean thing with piggyback rides, and so we're talking about how, and I referenced a lot of K dramas for that, and so it happened because there's one question about, well, how would he lift? How would they lift? Because Turtle's so small, why don't you just carry him on his back? And I'm like, whoa, no. We should do a piggyback ride. So they asked why. Yeah, right. And so it's like, it's so interesting. The small little layers that have been just allowed to permeate and percolate within this world. It's details this is what I love about this team, and how embracing Elly and Max has been about all these tiny little details that all of us will, especially my friends, will see it and go, I know what that is, but it's just a part of everything. Like they just happen to carry him, but it is a cultural thing that we do differently, and it's so unique.
Yeah, adding all those little tidbits really add so much depth. We don't have that much time left. It's been a really great conversation. I want to ask one more question to each of you. If we can hear from each of you, simply put, the question is, what is your favorite thing about this show? Let's start with Eruk.
I would have to say at the core, Bossy and Turtle. And, they harken back when I was a little kid. I used to watch I Love Lucy reruns, and Lucy Ricardo and Ethel Mertz. That duality of a character who has great ambition and great passion, and the other one who wants to come along, but doesn't want to miss it, but is brought into this mayhem. And I think that is just always what's so great about every one of these stories. These two guys have just brought these two characters to life in such a way that's fantastic.
You're saying at the core, ultimately, it's a show about friendship, about being best friends.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's really great. Elly, what about you? What's your favorite thing about Bossy Bear?
I was going to say something similar to Eruk, so I'm going to give you an answer, and I hope it's satisfactory. But working with these people has been like the greatest joy for me for the last 3 years. I've never worked on a show with people who are as smart and selfless and collaborative as this team. And it was also a team that came together during COVID. And I think it gave us all the sense of community and purpose that we were really all looking for in that weird time. And I'm just really grateful for all of you that I get to work with you and learn from you every single day.
I love you.
Good stuff. Chil, what about you?
I would ditto all of that with Elly. All the meeting rooms that I was in was my center of joy, and not only that, it's my son actually saw what some of the previews, and he sent me a little message and said, I'm proud of you, Dad," and like that just it just made my entire it made COVID easy. It made coming out of COVID easy. It made all of this and I'm just so proud to be part of this. And I really do. I thank the amazing team. I thank Nickelodeon and this amazing cast who just made it all come to life.
Good stuff. Going through our voice actors, Jayden, what's your favorite thing about Bossy Bear?
I think my favorite thing about the show is really the Korean culture, because there's so many things in it, like food, there's K-pop, all the words. I've learned so many things, and I'm really glad for this to be my first Korean role in any film.
Jaba, what about you? What's your favorite thing about Bossy Bear?
This show is so amazing, so it's such a difficult question, but I would have to go with the cast and the team. Jayden and Viva, they are Bissy and Bossy. Not only that, the rest of the cast is amazing, but not only that, the team, like my director, Ed Lewis, he is such a good director. Not only that, just everyone that has worked on the show is just so great.
Yeah, Jaba, hats off to your PR department. They're doing a good job. Viva, what about you? What's your favorite thing about Bossy Bear?
I love the representation. I love the diversity. And, there's a spectrum to Koreanness, it's a diaspora. And I like how there's a little bit of everything in there. You don't want to just walk into a garden and have all of the same flower. That's boring. It's basic, okay? You want biodiversity, roses, sunflowers, lavender, lilies, even dandelions. I don't know much about flowers, to be honest. But, I just love how almost all cultures are represented and they're beautiful and normalized.
That's all good stuff. Thanks, everyone on the panel. This has been really fun. I think that it makes me want to go back and watch all the episodes that I've seen already, and I can't wait to see all the new ones. And I know that everyone who's watching this right now feels the same way. I want to thank some folks, so Elly Kramer and the team at Imagine, Eruk Casemiro and the team at Nickelodeon and Nick Animation, Max Goodman and Nikki Williams, the EICs that what's an EIC?
Executive in charge of production.
Executive in charge.
They're amazing. I just need to shout them out because they are
stellar.
Besties extraordinaire, the best.
David Horvath and Sunmin Kim, the creators of the Bossy Bear books, and Chil Kong, who provided valuable cultural oversight and insight for the show. All of our voice talent here today, Jayden Ham, Jaba Keh, and Viva Lee, Cape for helping put together this incredible event and all the great work they do on a regular basis. Tune in to the premiere of Bossy Bear Monday, March 6th at 11 a.m. Eastern. That is 8 a.m. Pacific. That's on Nickelodeon. And every day, Monday through Thursday for the entire month of March. Bossy Bear crew and cast and team, thank you so much for this time. And thank you so much for your work. We are looking forward to just the Bossy Bear fandom, where Bossy Bear stands. I don't know who my bias is in Bossy Bear, but I know that everyone watching here is going to tune in and fall in love over and over every day. My name is Nick Cho again. I'm your Korean dad. Thanks, everyone.
Korean dad.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.